Hi guys, Ben here from 100NMAT, and I've been asked for a couple of weeks now, rather sporadically and unusually, more than one person has asked me to talk about it, and I think it's because it's related to what I'm probably better known for. I'm going to talk about stress and just cover what I believe are some of the fundamentals of utilising a number of tools, dealing with it, understanding it a little bit better, so not only can you reduce stress in your everyday life, but you can feed your mind and have the knowledge and understanding so that should there be trigger points in the future, you can just reflect back and have that aha moment from this watching, from this listening. So a question I'm asked a lot is, how do we deal with stress? And I think that's not the right question really to be asking. There's a big difference between dealing with stress and coping with stress. Now, stress is an everyday part of life. It's part of our very being. It's part of our nature. There's no getting away from stress if you're living within a Western culture. What we do, and the main divide between people that are and are not stressed, is the way in which they've educated themselves in coping with stress. How they've designed their life around the effective management and what they value and how they see the external world. That's the main difference. How we view, how we see the outside world and certain trigger points determines ultimately how we become or are. Now, I don't get stressed, and the reason I don't get stressed is because I have the ability to let things go that aren't important. I have the ability to forgive, to register and understand, but to allow my mind to free up the insignificant. It's a common trait of people nowadays to hold on to so much baggage, so much dirty water. And if you're a follower of my message, then you'll understand that, or would have heard it before, but I talk about the glass empty, glass full analogy, but also the dirty water analogy. Now, we can all have a cup which is half empty, half full. But you can also have a cup which is filled with dirty, stagnant water. What I mean by that is, if your cup is half full, but it's full of dirty water, it doesn't matter how much positive thinking you can do, you're always going to have the baggage of that there with you. You're always going to have that murkiness, those filters of your mind that you're looking through to the outside world, which are going to taint what you see. Now, I'm a great believer that you need a half-empty glass. That half-emptiness allows room for growth, development, for new visions, new understandings and knowledge. That's what I believe. But I also believe that that half fullness, that element that is filled, should be full of quality, clear, unstagnated water. Information and knowledge that's going to provide positivity, abundance. I don't mean financial abundance, I mean life abundance. Happiness, wealth, understanding. Peripheral view of the world which supports no ideology but a life of happiness for you, love, and for those people around you. By living in that concept or that understanding or that way of living, what you do is you open up the rest of the world for growth. You open up the ability to release stress from your life, to free up anxiety, to let go of those smaller bits that are really truly insignificant in a greater world. And I've coached and interviewed some of the most successful entrepreneurial spirits in the world. Not the brightest, not the most knowledgeable, some of the wealthiest, the most successful, not just financially successful, but successful in life. And the difference that they have, and this is probably one of the biggest secrets to wealth and abundance, not mindset, not the law of attraction, but the ability to let go of the insignificant. I used to have an actual physical coaching practice where people would come and see me in London in one of the most successful or renowned, world-renowned streets for therapy, for plastic surgery, that kind of thing. And I would say a good 80% of people that came to see me were caught up in the nuts and bolts of problems. They were like a horse with blinkers on. They'd forgotten to see what was going on around them on a bigger scale, and they were so focused on the smaller points, the insignificance. They had problems, and their brain had problems focusing, and they couldn't think properly. No wonder, because there was so much going on. As soon as they cleared out some of that baggage, some of that unhappiness, they begin to see the world so much differently. They begin to expand their peripheral view of the world. It's like taking the blinkers off. It's like, whoa, there's another world. There's more. Why was I so focused on this smaller point? Generally, that smaller point was in the past as well. And again, I find that a relatively crazy concept, and it's just the way that, again, the Western world have evolved to reflect so much on the past that you don't allow room for the future to flower, to come into fruition. It's a beautiful sunset over there, coming up over the hills. Awesome. But yeah, going back to the stress, you know, we can get caught up in the past, but the longer people hold on to those negative aspects, the longer they're going to be chained down and anchored to that. As if living in the past wasn't bad enough and experiencing that pain, going back there time and time again, all you're doing is reaffirming and reinforcing the pain that was there. You're reliving that pain. Some modern mindful therapies practice that. Keep going back, relive. What can you learn? In my world, that doesn't really work. touch a hot plate, go, that's hot. You don't keep going back, touching it, going, oh yeah, that is hot. Oh yeah, that's hot. It'd be ludicrous. For me, it's about going back maybe once, no more than twice. In your mind going, right, what can I learn from this? How am I going to not apply the same principles? If I take ownership over that past, if I say, right, that event caused or happened as a result of me, what am I going to do to ensure that doesn't happen to me in the future? What am I going to do to make sure that is not going to happen in the future? When you start thinking like that, it changes the whole dynamic of the way that you think about life, the external world, what's going on. The outside world's a reflection of what's happening inside. That thought process really does change. If stress is affecting you, then it's time to look at what you can be doing to change that external view of the world. If you're stressed at work, then you need to address those problems. You need to be realistic. You need to say and take the action needed to make those alterations. There is no point, there is no purpose, or there's little purpose complaining about something if you're not going to do anything about it. It's the whole voters concept, isn't it? People talk about changing the world and what they're not happy with in the world, what they're not happy with in their local constituency. But do they vote? Do they go to the polling station and vote for somebody that's going to voice that opinion? No. If you are not prepared to do something about it, then you need to understand that things are not going to change. Life's going to remain the same for you. You're going to be affected by those same issues, those same problems. It's not just the external world which is affecting the internal world, it's your perception of the outside world. What's going on out there. So coping with stress, managing stress is what most need to think about. Not eliminating it, not removing it. Not avoiding the triggers, but understanding and accepting that that world outside, the one that you've been complaining about, you need to take ownership for. So that's just my very short and brief message on coping or dealing with stress. I'm going to do a couple more in the series, so if you haven't already, please subscribe below. Let me know what you think of my videos. It inspires me not only to make more, but also talking on a number of other topics which may or may not be of benefit to you. Either way, I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.